Welcome to Power Over Debt, Breaking the Debt Cycle. We're delighted that you've joined Evergreen Direct Credit Union for this important program to help you get and stay out of debt. We encourage our participants to discuss these topics with their family. My name is Wendy Wagner, and I'll be your presenter today. Now it's time to think about what you need to do to start to get rid of your debt. This slide lists 8 steps to take. We're going to look at these one by one. It's probably best to start with the first one first. Let's look at each one individually. Step number 1 to tackling your debt is make sure you know what you owe. Put together a list of who you owe and what your interest rates are. This is going to help you. If you're serious about getting out of debt, the second step to tackling your debt is not to add any new debt. Stop using your credit cards for a while until you can get back on track and can pay the monthly payment in full each month. Take a look at handout 4 in the resource material. Know what you owe. Take a look at the interest rates and decide which cards you want to keep and which ones you want to close out and cut up. Third, try to understand how you got into debt trouble in the first place. You'll greatly increase your chances of long-term success. The third step in tackling your debt is to find some extra cash so that you can pay your debt off faster. Set up a spending plan or budget. The credit union has provided access to balanced financial counseling directly from our website under services. They have educational courses you can take online as well as many other budgeting tools. Have you been getting a large refund every year? If so, you've been giving an interest-free loan to the federal government. Instead, adjust your withholding on your W-4 by adding exemptions to increase your take-home pay. This way you have access to your money all year round instead of getting a lump sum at tax time. Consider redirecting your retirement contributions, but only temporarily just to pay down your debt. First, check with your financial planner to see if this option is right for your situation. Consider taking on a part-time job to help pay down debt, or liquidate some assets to put towards debt. Examples include garage sales, Craigslist, eBay, consignment shops, or putting ads in the local newspaper. As you tackle your debt, use caution when considering borrowing from your employer's retirement plan. There is no application form and no credit check. You can usually borrow up to 50% of your vested amount or $50,000, whichever is less. If you repay on time, the loan is shielded from taxes and penalties. The best part, you pay the loan and interest back to yourself. There are some cons to this type of loan. Interest paid back is taxable, and if you lose or quit your job, you must repay the loan in 30 to 60 days, or it would be a penalty for early withdrawal if you are not yet 59 and a half. Seek some financial advice before determining that a 401k loan is for you. If you have a lot of credit card balances, you may be tempted to take out a debt consolidation loan. This strategy involves taking out a new loan and closing old credit accounts after using the debt consolidation loan proceeds to pay them off. Be aware that there are both pros and cons to a debt consolidation loan. If you consolidate 5 accounts, you'll have just one payment for all the debts that you've consolidated instead of 5 separate payments. That is a huge plus. There is a possibility that your credit score could suffer if you're required to close the consolidated accounts. There's danger of losing your house if the loan is secured with home equity. You could get into credit card trouble all over again if you keep using your same credit card usage habits. You may have to pay a higher interest rate than what you were charged before, or worse yet, you may be paying interest on debt that was previously interest-free, such as legal or medical bills. What's the right way to do it? Take out a debt consolidation loan only if the interest on that loan is lower than the interest rates on the debt that you're consolidating. And please make sure that you're not going to incur any new debt while you're paying on the debt consolidation loan. Let's take a look at a real-life example of how the credit union made a difference for one of our members. This member made home repairs with their credit cards. Subsequently, they decided to consolidate them into 3 low-interest loans, saving them a total of $5,560.77 and making sure that they were repaid within 5 years. As it stood with the accounts that they had, these accounts wouldn't have been paid off for well over 7 years. In this real-life example, this member had these cards for a very long time. With this consolidation, They're paying a bit more each month, but they will be paid off in 4 years, and they're going to save $20,676. This is amazing. The credit union is here to help you also. Please just get us your information about the interest rates that you have on your current accounts, what the balances are, and who the creditor is, and let your credit union take a look at it. PowerPay method puts as much money towards the highest interest rate debt first, while making minimum payments on all the other debt. This way, you get rid of the most expensive debt first, which puts you further ahead of your debt repayment schedule. Some people get frustrated with this method if the high interest rate is huge and they don't see immediate progress towards paying it off. Worst case scenario, they quit their debt repayment program altogether and fall deeper into debt. If the PowerPay method doesn't work for you, try another strategy, the snowball method. Make minimum payments on everything except the smallest debt, and focus on getting rid of that small debt. Once it's paid off, apply the extra money to the next smallest debt, and so on. This way you have one less debt, so there's a more tangible reward. Be careful though, when you have only 1 or 2 debts left to pay off, you might feel like celebrating, but actually may not even have paid half of the debt off. Use the second method only as a backup method if the PowerPay method does not work for you. The most important thing is to choose the method that works for you and stick to it to get rid of your debt. If you can't pay your bills, or you think you're going to have a difficult time paying your bills in the very near future, the worst thing that you can do is to ignore your creditors. Call them before they call you. Make a good faith effort can go a long way towards positive resolution of your money problems. Make sure you agree on repayment plans that are reasonable and affordable for you. Some questions you may want to consider asking the creditor. Would you be willing to lower my interest rate? Would you be willing to reduce the total amount of my debt? But before you make the call to negotiate a repayment plan, know what you can afford given all of your other obligations. Don't agree to any plan that you know that you can't afford. And if you do negotiate a repayment plan, definitely stick to it. If your discussion with creditors breaks down, ask for help from the credit union, or staff can refer you to a reputable counselor or agency to intervene with the creditors on your behalf, such as Balance. Be aware, though, that some credit counselors may require that you cut up all or most of your credit cards. This seminar is not intended to go into the detail of bankruptcy, but know that bankruptcy should be used only as a last resort, because it will be listed on your credit report for up to 10 years. It is visible to anybody granting you credit, and it will result in higher interest rates and much higher interest payments over time. So to be sure, bankruptcy is a costly option. Steer clear of any advertisement that claims to erase your bad credit history. You can't erase history. They may be able to temporarily hide some negative information on your report, but be prepared for it to show up again. Negative but accurate information can stay on your credit report for up to 7 years. Steer clear of advance fee loans. Never pay a fee just for the promise of a loan. This is a sure sign of a scam. Steer clear of rent-to-own stores. These agreements typically result in payments that total 2 to 3 times or more of the item's worth, and there's no guarantee that the goods are new. They may have been repossessed from somebody else. Steer clear of payday loans. They're expensive. Short-term loans against your next paycheck, with annualized interest rates that could be more than 700%. Many people wind up renewing these loans with additional fees each time, resulting in a cycle of debt that is just difficult to break. Steer clear of pawn shops. You won't be offered even close to the object's value. Consolidating your debt into one loan may make sense for you, but if it's a high-interest loan and the rates are higher than the debt that you're consolidating, this might not be a good idea. So look at consolidating your debt seriously with a credit union staff member. Debt settlement is a process to settle outstanding debt with creditors, but the costs are high and there are pitfalls. Either you or a third party negotiates with the creditor for a reduced amount, usually 40 to 60% that you agree to pay. Options include reducing the principal debt amount, eliminating late fees, lowering the annual percentage rate, and providing a flexible repayment period. Remember, debt settlement will remain on your credit report for 7 to 10 years and can lower your credit score, and you may owe this money on your income tax. In addition to pitfalls on the previous slide, remember the 5 don'ts as you develop your plan to pay down your debt. Don't ignore your debt. What you should do as soon as you think you might fall behind is contact your creditors. Don't carry your credit cards with you if you're prone to impulse purchases. Instead, consider freezing them in a container of water. This way, you have to wait for the cards to thaw before you use them. But don't thaw them in the microwave because it will ruin the magnetic strip. Don't ask for credit card limit increases because you may be tempted to charge up to the limit. Don't use consumables such as food on your credit card. If you carry your balance from month to month, you're paying interest on the food that you ate months ago. Don't use credit repair agencies because they charge high fees for things that you can do for yourself for free, and they claim they can erase your bad credit. That's not true. Here are some useful tips for rebuilding your credit history and getting back on track. If you're having a problem getting approved for any credit, consider a secured credit card through the credit union. You'll have to provide a deposit determined by the limit that you're requesting, and that deposit would have to be kept at the credit union for the term of your credit card or until we've released that security. These accounts represent very little risk to the credit union, so they're much easier to obtain. It is up to you then to use that line of credit responsibly, that is, pay off the balances on time to establish a good bill payment history so that you may be able to get another form of credit in the future. Close unwanted accounts and get help. Use the credit union staff for referrals to credit counselors, either in-house or with a reputable counselor in the community. Ask the credit union about debt consolidation options. Remember not to include any of your existing debt that have interest rates lower than the debt consolidation interest rate that you're being offered. If you would like a copy of the materials from this seminar, please email marketing@evergreendirect.org. I would also like to invite you to take the next step in getting out of debt by calling the credit union at 360-943-7676 or 1-800-327-4286. and schedule an appointment with an account manager as soon as possible. Our staff is in the business of changing members' lives. We can help. Call today.